Good evening. Let me call to order this meeting of the City of Bloomington Plan Commission for September 9th, 2024. Let me start by just giving a quick overview of our agenda this evening. We'll have a little bit of internal housekeeping, and I believe only one petition to be heard tonight. There are two petitions that have been tabled. Those are SP 24-22, Cutters Kirkwood 123 LLC. That is the property at 115 East Kirkwood Avenue. Also ZO 34-23, those are text amendments to the sign standards proposed by the city. That's been tabled as well. And then the DP 27-24, which is the property at 1030 West Acuff Road. That petition has also been continued. So if you're here to hear about any of those, you're going to have to come back another night. We're not hearing any of those tonight. We have one petition tonight, which is SP 28-24, Core Bloomington Lincoln LLC, the property at 216 East 19th Street. So before we get to that, we will start with our housekeeping items here. Let's just begin with the roll call and make sure we've got a quorum.
Randolph.
Here.
Ballard.
Here.
Seaboard.
Here.
Kinsey.
Here.
Copper. Oh, sorry. Smith.
Here.
Stossberg.
Here.
Whistler.
Here. All right, so we do have a quorum, albeit a slim one. Got 6 voting members here tonight, and I think we need 5 votes in order to move anything along. So keep that in mind as we proceed this evening. I believe we also have some minutes to be approved tonight. That is with the minutes from the August 12th meeting. Are there any corrections or questions about those minutes? Commissioner Stossberg.
I just read them through right here, and I just see a typo in the petition from Post Road under Trenton Furbach's public comment. I'm not sure his name is spelled right, but also traffic has an E on the end, and it should not in the 3rd line there. But I think that Furbach is not spelled correctly either.
What is?
His name, Trenton Furbach.
They didn't sign the sheet, so I was transcribing it from video, audio, video.
Okay.
So I didn't.
Should I guess at how his name is actually spelled right now? Because I didn't actually look at, I could look that up for you before the end of the night.
Okay.
Would that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and just move that we just table those minutes till our next meeting, then make those corrections, and we can approve those at our next meeting. Somebody want to second that?
Second.
All in favor of continuing those minutes to our next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll come back to that at our next meeting. We'll now go on to reports, resolutions, and communications. Let me start with commissioners. Are there any reports from commissioners? Commissioner Randolph.
Yes, just a brief update from the county. We are in the process of the CDO, kind of at the finishing stages, and so I just wanted to inform everyone that our first public hearing for the CDO will be on September 24th at 5:30 in the Monroe County Courthouse in the Nate Hill room. That's also where the county council and county commissioners convene their official meetings. So I just wanted to let people know that. Also, the meeting will be hybrid, so you can attend virtually. And also, if you have any other additional questions, please reach out to planning staff. And also, there's a lot of additional information on monroecdo.com. So I really encourage folks to come. It's really going to be a listening hearing for a lot of the Plan Commission members as far as the way that we rolled out the rules, the way we're going to conduct the meeting. And even if you live in the city, I think your feedback will be very important. And I know there's a lot of folks that live in the city, work in the county, vice versa, and maybe own property here or there. Please just spread the word. Our hope is to get folks there on the first meeting. And if needed, we have 2 dates set to continue, but that's not a given. So this might be your only opportunity to provide feedback unless we continue the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other reports from commissioners? Commissioner Seabour.
Yeah, just wanting to make a quick note of appreciation for Neil Copper for serving as my proxy the last few months.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Neil. It's been good having you. Anything else from commissioners? Any reports from staff?
Nothing from staff, no.
All right. Well, we are then on to our one and only petition for the evening, SP 28-24. And Eric Grulich is here to present. Take it away, Eric.
Sorry, give me a minute here. The computer is being a computer. There we go. I apologize for that. So petitioner tonight is Core Group, and they are coming here tonight to request site plan approval to approve a phasing plan for the construction of 2 buildings that were recently approved back in April of this year on the north side of town. So this is for a property that encompasses a wide area, in essence, from East 17th Street to East 19th Street to Lincoln and Washington Street. The property is zoned mixed-use student housing, and there are several single-family and multifamily buildings that are on the property now. The petitioner is proposing or received approval to remove all of these structures to allow for 2 new student housing buildings to be constructed. So there was a north building and a south building. Just for reference on your screen here, 17th Street is on the right side of your screen, and then 19th is on the left side of your screen. So the petitioners received approval to construct 2 single-family buildings. As they were working through the actual construction schedule and timing for everything, they realized that there was going to be about a 12-month lag time between when the southern building would actually be completely finished and ready for occupancy and from when the northern building would be ready for occupancy. So there is a parking garage that is going to be constructed on the south half of the site that will have cast-in-place concrete done. That will have a lot of crane work, and the north half of the site will be used as staging. So it creates a long delay as they get that framing and construction aspect done. So once those things are finished, then they can start using the north half of the site for the foundation and the construction of the north building. But as I mentioned, there is a significant lag that occurs between the actual completion of those 2 buildings. So the UDO in the temporary occupancy inspection or temporary occupancy section of the code only gives a very short window. About 6 weeks is what the UDO allows for a temporary occupancy. So the 12-month was very much outside that 6 weeks window. And so the petitioners are here tonight to request a phasing plan. We are not reviewing the site plan. Nothing has changed with the site plan. This is literally strictly just to approve a phasing plan, and that phasing plan would be dividing the site in half, where this red line is shown. So everything on the south side of that red line that's associated with the southern building would be completely constructed and installed prior to recommendation of final occupancy for that building. And then on the north side of the site, again, all of those improvements would be done prior to recommendation of final occupancy for that building. So in essence, it's just dividing the site in half. So all of the improvements along 17th Street and Lincoln Street and a very small portion along Washington Street would be completed with the first phase. And then the north half of the site, the improvements on Lincoln and 19th and Washington would be constructed with that phase. As I mentioned, this is simply just a housekeeping kind of aspect with this petition here tonight, and it's just to approve these 2 phases. So we are recommending approval with the 2 conditions in staff's report, and we added a third one just to deal with the rare circumstance that maybe for some reason the northern building doesn't get constructed. I realize it's kind of small on the screen, so I will just read it real quickly for the benefit of everybody. It says all site improvements and conditions of approval of SP 1124 must be installed prior to recommendation of final occupancy of the northern building or no later than 2 years from recommendation of final occupancy of the southern building. So it's just capturing that everything has to be done on the northern building or the northern portion of the site if for some reason they walk away from the site and they don't do the northern building, for instance. So this is just kind of reinforcing that all of the site improvements on the entire property do have to be done and giving a 2-year window for that. Even though they're only expecting a 12-month delay, we wanted to give a little bit of time just to cover everything. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the Planning Commission might have once the petitioner has a chance.
Thanks. Is there a representative of the petitioner who would like to speak tonight? Just step up to the podium and state your name for the record.
My name is Alyssa Galina. I'm with Core Spaces, the petitioner. I think Eric did a great job outlining what we're asking for today, so I don't have any additional content to present, but I want to thank you all for being here and considering our petition. I also am joined by our architect, general contractor, and other members of the core team, so we're happy to answer any questions that you might have about the phasing plan. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, are there any
Yes.
any questions from commissioners, either for staff or for the petitioner? Go ahead.
I guess this is more, sorry, they have fancier mics now, and I'm not used to hitting the button on anymore, so. There's someone in the waiting room. There's me, but that doesn't really matter. Sometimes I just like to follow along with what you're putting, but I just wanted to make sure we omitted the other person, so if they wanted to speak to this, they were able to. So that was it.
Oh, thanks. Any questions from commissioners? I've got one. Eric, could you go back to the slide that you had up that highlighted the time limit language on there? Just want to make sure. There we go.
You mean the section from the UDO?
Yeah, that's it. So the limit is 6 weeks from the date of recommendation for the temporary certificate. And you can't, So
the next line says, except for, periods of weather that prevent something. So, and this is what we run into oftentimes is something that goes into the middle of July or June or something, we give until October. Or, if something that gets done in December or January, obviously you can't put in landscaping. So then we go until April or something. So, if there's some aspect that is weather related that is preventing you from meeting your requirements, then there's an allowance in the code. But, just a general spacing for, in general, temporary occupancies, you get 6 weeks, unless there's some extenuating circumstance. This is something that we have kind of highlighted that we might be changing with future amendments, but this is what's in the code right now.
And typically you would apply for that temporary certificate of occupancy when construction is nearing completion?
Well, ideally you would apply for it when you think you're 100% done and you're ready to have the inspectors come out and look at everything and give you the final answer. Obviously very rarely does that happen where somebody gets signed off for on the very first time and out, but it's with the assumption that everything's ready to go.
So I guess what I'm confused about here is they're going to need some final occupancy for building 1 to be issued, and I guess is it just that you don't have the discretion at the staff level to issue multiple certificates for a single?
Yes, we just do one. So you either get your final occupancy or you don't. When you apply for your temporary, we come out and do an inspection. If there's some aspect of that you didn't pass, we'll make note of what those deficiencies are, give you a list, and then you get those fixed, and then we come back out and do another inspection.
So in this case, what's the fix there? Are we're just issuing a special kind of occupancy permit that has a longer timeline on it, or we're issuing 2?
Yeah, so this would be breaking it up to, so we're not bypassing the UDO here. What we're doing is saying, here are two portions of the site that are distinctly different. You've completed everything on, the south half of the line, and that's a standalone portion of the site. And we're giving you an additional 12 months to finish the stuff on the north side with that portion of the site.
Okay, but it's still one occupancy permit, or it's
one occupancy permit for each building. So the south building will have one final occupancy, and the north building will have a separate final occupancy.
Okay, and that's what
per this phasing plan. So we would look through here and say, what are the elements that are essential to phase 1? So for instance, the stormwater management system is on the north half of the site. So that is something that we put in here would have to be done with phase 1. But otherwise, there weren't any other elements that were intricate to the other phase that had to be done as part of that. For other petitions, for instance, like the Kinzer Ridge subdivision that we heard last month, we were concerned with road connectivity, other infrastructure that might need to be reviewed with each phase to make sure that, we're not creating problems. In this particular case here, there aren't any problems that are caused by, one building being done 12 months sooner than the other.
So it's not unusual for staff to issue an occupancy permit for each phase of a project. It's just that in this case, we didn't anticipate there would be multiple phases.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. Any other questions from commissioners? Go ahead.
Eric, I'm interested in what you were just describing about what is needed on the site for phase one to demonstrate that it's completed. Are those specified in your own documents? That's not something we've typically reviewed or that we have reviewed for this particular site plan.
Yeah, so, for this particular project, there were a few, the elements that the UDO is looking at are, landscaping and bike parking. And, this is one big property. So it's not like, there's a parking garage here that's serving a use on a different property. So, it's providing everything on the site. So what we looked at with this phasing line is, all of the landscaping on the south side of the site will be installed so that it is completely done. There is bike parking within the building. So it's not like there are amenities or requirements with this phase that are lacking because they're on the north half of the site. So again, that's kind of like the stormwater management system. That is being installed with the first phase, which handles the whole site. And then the second phase, the northern building, will provide some of the elements that are on that side of the line.
And it is pretty remarkable that the line is like almost exactly in the middle, but that, I presume, was logically derived based on what's on either side of the north-south split?
Well, it wasn't specifically, here's the 50 shrubs that they need happen to be on this sideline. This is where the disc, there is a walkway that connects the buildings here, but in essence, they're two separate buildings.
Okay.
And so, from their construction phasing standpoint, in terms of pouring the foundation and doing the framing, once they're done with the south half of the site, they can start on the north half of the site, and they'll start the foundation and all the framing while they're finishing the south half of the site. It's just a lag of having all of the internal features done and fixtures done.
Yeah, and just so to confirm then, so everything that's needed for occupancy will be complete at the time of okay, I got to get my sides right. Whatever the first one is that's going to be done, south, completely done.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, everything on that south side of the
Okay.
line, all of the sidewalks along Lincoln, on 17th, all of the landscaping, so they will be completely done with the south half of the site when we do that occupancy.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
I guess just thinking through the first phase, so everything south of that red line would be built, so sidewalks, street trees, everything. I guess just the entrance to the parking garage is from Washington Street on the north side, is that correct?
That's correct.
Will there, just while phase two is still under construction and people are then needing to get into the parking garage, will there be, I don't know if the parking garage has accessible entrances, how people get in and out, but just making sure that we're not, I guess just making everything will function and required accessibility we provided.
Yeah, our residents will certainly need to be able to get in and out of that garage, so, our phasing plan has taken that into account.
Okay. And then
And any accessible entrances or things required for life safety will all be accounted for.
okay. And then maybe not directly related to this request, but just hearing the contractor is here. Just curious to explore the crane, the construction of the first phase, the large transmission line, just at a high level, trying to understand where things will be staged, how you get stuff from 17th Street to this crane when there is a huge transmission line between the two.
Hi, Jesse Graber with Wells & Wells Construction. Currently, the plan is there is an existing road cut on 17th Street, there we go. The other slide was actually a little better. There we go. It would be just west of the parcel of property that is not a part of this project. As a part of our submission, we are enlarging that road cut to 50 feet to accept the semi-trucks for the precast parking garage panels. That was approximately a 3-month duration of the total for our truck staging. Once the parking garage itself is erected, then that road cut would be repaired, because I know 17th is a brand new street for you. It'll be repaired to like new condition, and we'll go back to just general construction entrances at that point. Our cranes, we use RH Marlin for all of our crane services, and our crane plan does take all of the OSHA requirements for the high phase power lines that are in place. You know, we won't be disrupting or removing any power lines as a part of our crane plan. The garage itself is being erected by crawler cranes, not by tower cranes, so they have full control over their swing, and all of our tower cranes are going to be self-erectors, not city cranes like the one we have out on Walnut Street now. So the ability to place and move those self-erector cranes will be much higher than what we have with a city crane.
Okay, and you just mentioned that, so will trucks essentially pull in one driveway, kind of parallel 17th Street, and then exit the other,
So we do have a construction phasing plan that was submitted as a part of this hearing, but basically there is a truck parking and staging area as a part of our phase 1.1, where trucks will be able to pull in off of 17th Street, be unloaded, turn around and pull out. They will not park on 17th or block traffic.
You just said the key thing. Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions?
I was just wondering what that third condition was again. Sorry.
Yep, so the third condition says all site improvements and conditions of approval of SP 11-24 must be installed prior to recommendation of final occupancy of the northern building or no later than 2 years from recommendation of final occupancy of the southern building.
And I guess my question is, that's for all the improvements. Does this potentially guarantee that construction of the second building?
Yes, so they have a site plan that shows 2 buildings being constructed. So if for some reason they attempted to just build one and not build the other, they would be in violation of their site plan. So that's kind of already covered by the approved site plan.
Okay, so thank you. I just wanted to be certain on that.
Thanks. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll go to public comment then. If you are here and you'd like to make comment on this petition, make your way to the podium, state your name for the record. You'll have up to 5 minutes to make comment. If you are joining us online, you can just click on the reactions button and then click on the raise hand button, or you can send a chat message to the host, which I believe is Mr. Grulich tonight. And we'll recognize you when it is your turn to speak. So, go ahead.
Hello, my name's Mitzi Lewis. I live on 19th Street, have a couple of properties that are just directly west across Washington from this whole project. I have questions such as when is the demo work starting? Is all of the demo going to be done in the 5 acres? At once, because that's what I understood in another meeting. I thought you couldn't just demo part of it and get started, and it sounds like you are, but I'd like to know that. The address, what is the most northern address on Washington Street that's part of this phase 1? I couldn't really see that. It's a red house. Oh, it's kind of red. There's the red house, 1320.
Ma'am, if you want to just go ahead and give all your comments, and then we'll try to address that at the very end.
Okay. I want to know that address, if that's included in phase 1. And I guess that's all. So it sounds like the northern part of the whole project is going to just look like a construction zone as phase 1's being built, And is the parking garage being built at the same time Phase 1 is happening?
Thank you. We'll make sure we've got all the public comment before we try to respond to things that are brought up during the public comment. So is there anyone else here that would like to make public comment? Feel free to make your way to the podium if you'd like to make comment. State your name for the record, and you'll have up to 5 minutes.
Just quickly, Jason Millick, and my question is just kind of anticipation on the breaking ground of Phase 1, roughly, and then, yeah, that was it.
Thank you. Do we have any online commenters, Eric?
No, there's nobody with a hand raised and nothing in chat.
All right, anyone else here would like to make comment? Last call for public comment. All right, we are then back to the commission for any final questions or comments. Commissioner Sussberg.
I'll go ahead and echo our public commenters and ask if anybody wants to address the timeline right now of your project and when demo is going to start and when construction is going to start on Phase 1.
I'm Brendan Kearney with Core Spaces. I do pre-construction. We're planning to start construction in about May 2025, either April or May is kind of what we're looking at. It's still tentative. A few things have to fall in place. As far as the address, did you look it up yet? I'm not sure the exact building being referred to. Okay.
I just don't know the address.
Real quickly, from staff's perspective and the grading permit, you know, all of the structures are going to be removed at one time, and the site is treated as one site for their stormwater management and pollution program. So it will be completely demolished, wrapped in erosion control fencing around the entire perimeter. So, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the demolition, there is not a phasing of, you know, they're going to leave everything on the north half of the site while they work on the south half. The north half is serving as their staging ground. So everything will be removed at one time.
That is correct. It's going to be used as a staging ground, and we have a lot of like site infrastructure work to do around there as well.
So when are those demos going to begin?
That we're planning either like January or May still. So or it's gonna be done before May, but
Okay.
sometime first quarter 2025.
Okay, and so then you're hoping for Phase 1 in terms of building occupation. I'm kind of assuming then you're looking toward fall of 2026 being the first.
2027.
2027. So it's going to take 2 years to build Phase 1?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I hope that helped address the timeline concerns of the public.
Yeah, it's we're still trying to get some stuff. You know, we're looking at, you have to do some testing still, and that's what's driving that.
All right, are there any other questions from commissioners? All right, any final comments or a motion? Just as a reminder, the staff recommendation is that the Plan Commission approve the phasing plan as submitted and adopt the proposed findings and approve SP 2824 with 3 conditions, 2 that were included in the packet, but and a third one that's been displayed on the screen.
I'll motion to approve the phasing plan as submitted and adopt the proposed findings and approve SP 2824 with the 3 conditions noted on the screen.
Is there a second?
Second that.
All right, any final discussion before we call the roll? All right, let's call the roll on the motion, please.
Ballard,
Yes.
Seaboard,
Yes.
Kinsey,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Stossberg,
Yes.
Whistler.
Yes. All right, motion carries, and that petition is approved. Thank you all for your time. Any final announcements from commissioners before we adjourn? Anything else from staff? All right, thank you all. We are adjourned.
Sure.